On the back of Terminator and Aliens, James Cameron could have made any movie that he wanted to. So you know what he did? He went on to the most physically grueling shoot of his entire career.
The smartest thing you ever did.
Something that was literally impossible to create based on the technologies afforded at the time. It would be a production that would push the limits of special effects and pave the way for movies like Titanic and Terminator 2 in the years to come. But for now, it left actors punching holes in walls on set and openly comparing the experience to being a soldier in Vietnam during the press tour. As Cameron responded by calling the actors pampered babies. Meanwhile, a movie studio was left sitting on the sidelines waiting for the finished product as they watched rival studios cash in on a 1989 summer box office feeding frenzy. All this is worth the wait for a James Cameron science fiction epic sure to break box office records, right?
Right? Wrong.
That Brinks truck full of James Cameron cash just never seemed to come. This is what the happened to the abyss. While at a science seminar in high school, James Cameron listened to a presenter who, in an experiment, was able to successfully breathe with liquid running through his lungs. That inspired Cameron to write a fictional story that would later end up a movie treatment. He replaced the scientists in his original story with blue-collar oil workers and told a story of a group who have to go into the deep and be forced to confront their own human nature. He would title this adventure The Abyss, seemingly after the famous Nietzsche quote, "If you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." The cast included Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and Michael Biehn as the leads.
It means whatever happens is up to us.
They were backed by a strong supporting cast that included the likes of Leo Burmester and Todd Graff. The entire roster was filled with memorable character actors, including Halloween 2's Michael Myers' Dick Warlock, who plays a character named Dwight Perry that is killed when the oil rig is flooded. Warlock also acted as a stunt coordinator for the film. The group would be filled with men and women who would have to use their newfound camaraderie to survive a grueling schedule of which nearly 40% took place underwater. Cameron would spend around 10 to 12 hours a day underwater filming, and during one unfortunate incident almost drowned. It was such a pressure-packed shoot that he would at times have to watch the dailies while hanging upside down underwater during a 2-hour decompression sequence. That's a process that divers have to endure to allow nitrogen from the compressed air they breathe to exit their body and prevent decompression sickness. While the above-water cinematography for The Abyss was Backdraft DP Mikhail Solomon, James Cameron went to Al Giddings for the underwater shots, though they were supervised by Solomon, because he had aquatic filming experience and some of the underwater equipment that he'd need after having previously shot 1977's The Deep. The production found an abandoned power plant in Gaffney, South Carolina, where Cameron noticed an abandoned nuclear reactor containment structure that was over 50 feet deep and 200 feet wide. This is what they converted into their shooting tank. Cameron would later lament that it would have been cheaper to just build it from scratch. Helmets were specifically made so that the actors would not only be safe underwater, but so that you could also see the entirety of their faces, and they were able to emote. A first-of-its-kind PA system also had to be built so that Cameron could communicate with the actors while underwater. A system was then devised to record the actors' voices as they read their lines inside the helmets.
Everybody just stay calm. The situation is under control.
Specific HMI lighting rigs had to be invented from scratch. Cameron's engineer brother Mike built underwater propulsion vehicles that featured actual thrusters and controls so that Cameron could use them to film underwater and on the move. Both remotely operated vehicles and quarter-scale models were then created for the submersibles that we see in the harrowing Bumper Cars O' Death scene that takes place between the Brigmans and Lieutenant Coffee. For the carrier ship, a miniature so large was built that it had to have a Coast Guard license number to enter the open sea. In the unforgettable moment that we witness a rat breathing in liquid, you are literally witnessing a rat breathing in liquid. Cameron went back and visited the men at Duke University who were the initial inspiration for his script back at that high school seminar, who explained to him how to accurately reproduce the experiment. He then followed their directions live and on film in front of an awe-inspired crew. Ed Harris later used the reaction from the animals' experience to inform his performance when his character underwent the same painful process. Both the rat and Ed Harris were okay, by the way.
Here's your rat. See, he's fine. It's a she.
When designing the NTIs, or aliens, a rod was placed on the back center of the translucent puppets underwater, with their wings left free to flow majestically in the water. In the jaw-dropping scene in which the beings create a sphere of water to communicate with our shocked-as characters, famed visual effects company Industrial Light and Magic built a translucent water snake, if you will, that would be the first of its kind. This amazing effect would be the ground floor of the kind of breathtaking CGI that we would see when the T-1000 moves around in Terminator 2.
Get out.
On set, they dragged around what was essentially a dryer hose to simulate the being's movements. ILM would then use an upside-down and inverted water bottle to create the motion effect seen in the being. When it mimics the human being's faces, they used facial scans of the actors and imported them digitally. This sequence alone took them around 7 months to accomplish.
It's wonderful.
It's me.
They don't make movies like this anymore, folks. They just don't. Torture and all. In fact, a lot of these technologies and softwares had to be created just for these scenes. An early version of the program known as Photoshop was used and would help aid the software's future sale to Adobe. While bringing the Abyss to life was no doubt an insane mountain to climb from a technical standpoint alone, the tech created was also later used by Cameron and friends for the rest of their careers on projects like Titanic, Avatar, and Cameron's future ocean documentaries. The Navy even bought some of the innovative equipment from them after the shoot was completed. Quite the accomplishment. One of the many problems with shooting a movie underwater was that it had to create the effect that they were in the deep ocean. You shouldn't be able to see the surface. To create the effect, based on the advice of a junior practical effects artist, they used black polyester beads floating on top of the water. 20 tons of black beads created an 1.5-inch layer of darkness. Still yet, they had to add a second layer of coverage. Initially, a gigantic circus tent-like apparatus was constructed, but when a windstorm came and ripped it apart, Cameron came to the realization that they would have to begin filming the movie solely at night, which messed up everyone's circadian rhythms and made the set just that much more susceptible to dangerous accidents while filming many feet deep in the water with electrical equipment. The frustration trickled down to the crew and the actors. Cameron was being stretched as far as humanly possible, and with that, his bedside manner disappeared. Being recalled that the crew became insensitive to Ed and Mary's schedules specifically. They would allegedly have the stars in makeup at 7:30 a.m. for a 9:30 a.m. shot, only to have them waiting around all day, sometimes to never shoot a single frame. He recalled that windows were kicked in, cars were kicked in, and the people were howling at the moon. Even during the marketing for The Abyss, Ed Harris was asked how he was treated and responded, "That's like asking a soldier how he was treated in Vietnam." In retort, Cameron was quick to mention that he had no sympathy for the actors, saying that the actors in this country were pampered. He called them poor babies, who had to do some waiting around while the crew were busting their backs to set up their shots. The production would end up 5 weeks over its shooting schedule before completing, but even then, the troubles were far from over. In the original vision for the film, the NTI sent out massive tidal waves to threaten coasts across the world. The waves would dissipate just before causing mass destruction, as they realized the humanity and Brigman's emotional sacrifice at the end of the film. When they test screened The Abyss, the effect shots weren't completed, and the scene received negative test scores, leading to it being removed from the film completely, alongside other cuts to dig into the nearly 3-hour running time.
He'll crush this rig like a beer can.
Shut up, man! What are you talking
We
about?
gotta stop him.
Shut up!
Cameron asked for even more post-production time, to which a Fox executive told him that he could either finish the movie or personally go to 1,200 theaters and describe it for the audience for 4 screenings a day. They of course would end up pushing the film back anyway, but Cameron laments today that he should have stuck to his guns because the film was better with the scenes in it. He later received $500,000 as part of another contract to finish the effects in the scene and complete his older, longer version.
Jesus Christ, lady.
But if you think you can do any better, then you're welcome up here.
You can see these moments restored for yourself in the special edition home video release. An LA Times article from 1989 points out that while other studios were flourishing with huge blockbuster hits at the time, Fox was desperately awaiting the release of The Abyss, hoping it would get them into the mix. The film, however, was delayed multiple times, while the budget allegedly kept rising from a starting point of $33 million to $43 million, with sites reporting that it rose as high as $70 million. Cameron admitted that he would end up working for half the price because he had to use his payment to help cover extra special effects fees.
Okay, Chuck, it looks like we're pretty close to the storyboard, don't you think?
President of Fox Marketing at the time, Tom Sherrick, openly rued the fact that they were watching a box office free-for-all happen for everyone else as their film still wasn't ready for release. The movie would come out in a window later in the busy season than planned, with a title that Fox Marketing promised general audiences just didn't understand. And a running time that, even when shortened to 2 hours and 20 minutes, would cut down on the amount of screenings shown. As a result, The Abyss did not have a strong opening. The film opened at second place in its own opening weekend to the tune of less than $10 million and only pulled in just over $90 million worldwide by the end of its theatrical run. It wasn't by any means awful, but it sure as hell wasn't what they were hoping for following Terminator or Aliens. Reviews fared a bit better. While the audience gave the movie a cinema score of an A- and critics mostly praised the technical feats and thrilling moments, not everyone was impressed with the finale. Newsweek called it pretty damn silly, and the LA Times called the entire experience watered down.
We should be dead. We didn't decompress.
But one wonders if Cameron deep down always knew this film wouldn't be for the masses. Perhaps he really just needed to see whether or not he could accomplish the impossible on a film set. And that he did. As for The Abyss, the film went on to be nominated at the Oscars for Best Art Direction, Cinematography, and Sound. It would rightfully win the Little Gold Man for Best Visual Effects, thanks to audiences going back into Cameron's filmography and an amazing 4K transfer. The film is still getting discovered and recognized by fans over 25 years later. Even on the small screen, it's amazing to sit back and witness what they were able to accomplish. I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me feel kinda sick to my stomach to think that this film was made back in 1989 and is a better technical achievement than the majority of modern films. The Abyss is not only an insane technical accomplishment in filmmaking that still informs how some movies are made today, but a testament to what is possible. And that, my friends, is what the happened to James Cameron's The Abyss.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.